morning. You're gonna have to forgive me, I'm driving today, almost as always, so I can't stare directly at the camera for too long. Did a little video on the truth the other day and how we don't really want the truth anymore in this country, in a lot of countries. It's sad. But today, seeing as how they're talking about releasing JFK's, all the transcripts the FBI, Department of Justice, and the CIA had, we're going to let another cat out of the bag. The fact that men still rape women. I know, shocking. This day and age. We're so civilized now, that can't happen. You ever watch the people of Walmart and you think we're more civilized now? Have you convinced yourself of that fallacy? I haven't. And not to say that rating women, in my opinion, makes you a misogynist or a sexist. I think that's all bullshit too. Because a man can rate a woman and yet be completely respectful of other women and the woman he's with. Human nature. Like I've said in the past, you can't litigate, you can't legislate, you can't take away human nature. So it's nothing complicated, really. I mean, I've seen a lot of different structures, and some men have some complicated form of how they rate women. It's really very, very basic, like most men are. You know, basically, we're just slightly more intelligent than your smart, average human dog companion, you know. A lot of the same teaching tools work for us men. You know, if we do something wrong, hit us with a newspaper in the ass. Probably won't do it again, unless you're into that sort of thing, and then you're just encouraging that behavior. But as far as the rating goes, I know a lot of women want to tell themselves that doesn't play a role. Absolutely plays a role. And I'm not going to judge anybody for it. If you didn't think that you were judged by how you look, you wouldn't get yourself ready in the morning. If you didn't think you were judged by how you look, yoga pants would not be the hottest fashion trend of the last 5 years. If you didn't think you were judged by the way you look, you wouldn't spend 2.5 hours before you're heading out with the girls putting makeup on and changing your appearance. So I don't want any hypocritical comments on this video that, oh my god, men judge. I knew it. You always knew it. If you didn't know it, you didn't want to be part of that system, you'd be one of these feminists that doesn't shave her legs or take care of herself, stinks of cat piss and desperation. If you're not one of them women, then you knew it. All I'm doing is laying it out for you. I lay it out so you can play it out. So basically, what I found with most men is there's just variations on the total theme of numbers. It's basically paint by numbers. That's all it is. Men are very simple. So 1, there's a rating scale on how you look. Okay? That's the first and foremost. Generally, with most men, like I said, we're simple. We're not going to get it too overly complicated today. Generally, with most men, it's a 1 to 10 rating. Okay? 1 obviously being the bottom. You got a face only your mother could love. Butterface, another term men made up. Everything looks good, butterface. That's your first rating category. Secondarily is your body. Now, I can hear the comments already. Oh my god, this is so sexist. Listen to this pig. Wait a minute now. It's been scientifically proven that men are more visually stimulated than women. Our eyes control more of our thoughts, more of our decisions than women do scientifically. So to judge us and to label us in order to try to change human nature and the physiology of man, psychology of man, is stupidity. And it's a waste of time. Now, in the second category, like we talked about body, everybody has their own body type they like. So you're sitting there calling me sexist. Oh, he wants perfect Barbie doll body. That might not be the case at all. I know for myself it's not. And for many men it's not. So slow your roll and let me finish. So if there's no chance that we're ever really going to communicate with this woman or know her any further than a passing glance, that's as basic as the description gets. So we take the two numbers, right? The one for the face and the one for the body, scale of 1 to 10, and we average them out. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. You get 2 9s, come up with 18, split it in half, you're a 9. Almost never happens. But there are caveats, exceptions, and everybody's personal preference is different. But men, unlike women, we can get together and we can discuss these differences, and we don't even need to discuss them, and we'll rate a woman without ever seeing her based on somebody else's input. Okay? Now, this is where mankind, as though you hate to admit it, strays a little bit from your sexist profiling you're doing of us, our misogynist ways, is that personality does play a role in how you carry yourself. That plays an absolute role in this. So if we're never going to know any more about the woman or see her again, the 2-tiered system for rating works. But if this is a woman that's in our social circles, or we know, or somebody else knows, then their personality plays a huge role. And most of you don't know that. This is the part women don't understand, is that men are triggered by personality as well. So let's say you've got a woman that's a 5 and a 6 put together. You know, that's going to give her an overall rating of 5.5. Most other men would understand that. But now let's say, a good descriptive term is, oh man, she's a cool chick. You know, she's got her shit together, blah, blah, blah. Great personality, not conceited, da-da-da. That personality can actually elevate, because on the personality sides, we don't go 1 through 10. For most men, it's more along the lines of 1 through 20. So although somebody might pull off a low rank due to their looks and body, when you add in the mentality behind it, they can score much higher. This is why, ladies, spend less time on your duck face kissies, little freaking selfies, and more time on being a genuine, decent human being. Because it does make a difference with men. Even those of us that are labeled sexist and misogynist. Even us. If you are a nice human being and a decent person, that will almost all but erase any other shortcomings you have. Now, this may have similarities in how women look at things, because they're more intuitive, creative, emotional creature. So we do share similarities there. Now, there's caveats and exceptions to this 3-tiered program. Okay? 2 of the favorite lines, and you're not going to like these, but they're used quite extensively across the country with a huge cross-segment of the American male, is, the first is, would ya? Well, would ya? Terrible, right? Absolutely terrible. We're literally asking the other man if he would engage in coitus with this fine female. Now that, I give it to you, that's somewhat sexist, but that's man. That's man. Okay? So don't judge him. That's never going to change. Never. So, but the term would ya has to be defined. It has to be defined, because you're not going to meet some guy on the street that you don't know from Adam and look at him and go, would you? Would you? When he's talking or describing a woman. You're just not going to do that, because there's a little more mentality that goes into it than anything else. You don't know his personal preferences, tastes, characteristics, body type he's after. But it's a very common term among men that know each other and know exactly the demographic of woman that his friend likes. So would ya is a very popular term. And what that can do right there is erase all of the other tiers of the rating system altogether. Because knowing your friends, you know what they like, and you can gauge what your personal preferences are off of his response. So I think you get where I'm going here. If a man has higher standards than you have, obviously, and you ask him, would you? And he says yes, in your mind, you're already forming a mental picture of this individual without ever having to put her through the rating program at all. Okay? I mean, don't hate the messenger. I'm just saying what, this is very common. Okay? So don't hate me. Well, you can hate me. I don't care. Everybody needs to hate something. It's part of what makes the world go round and makes you whole is your love and your hate. So if you gotta hate, go ahead, hate me. But I'm just a messenger. The other popular term is not with a 10-foot pole. Or there's some variations on that depending on where you live and the circle of men you run with. It was not yours and a 10-foot pole. So I mean, there can be a different level of description there. Basically what that comes down to, and this is where the women and the feminists are going to be like, oh my God, I told you they're sexist assholes making that call, da-da-da. Not with a 10-foot pole can include gorgeous women. Women that you consider an absolute 10 all the way across the spectrum. But you can have a piss poor attitude and you're off the mark. So if that's not the sign of some intellect, I don't know what is. So like I said, don't hate the messenger, but now you know. It's basically a 3-tier system. 2-tier if we're never going to meet you. 3-tier if there's somebody in our social circle or we may meet again. And there's exceptions. There's also shortcuts. I like to call it new math. Would ya? Not with a 10-foot pole. Sometimes those terms are used together to find the end result. You don't have to show your work here. We're not that tight on things. But ladies, how you look will always be important. How you carry yourself and your attitude and your overall personality is way more important than both of those. So I hope you learned a few things. I hope you don't want to strangle me. But that's what we're doing. We're sharing some truth today.